Good evening, good evening. It's 13 minutes after 7. We're into the third and final hour now of Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Chevon Campbell.
We're going to talk some football politics now. Michael Ricketts defeated his challenger, Raymond Anderson, by 39 votes to 17 in the much anticipated Jamaica Football Federation presidential elections. That was held at the Royalton Hotel in Negril on Sunday. The victory by Ricketts gives him a second straight full term in office. He has been president of the JFF since 2017.
This could also spell the end for Anderson as a board member of the Federation after close to 40 years as a top-tier executive, including many as vice president. Meanwhile, Mr. Ricketts says he had no doubt that he would have been returned as president of the Federation. He believes the margin of victory could have been better.
We canvass these numbers almost every day. We'd have had meetings with some of our key stakeholders. And I tell you, the last canvass we did, it came down to 40-16. So we'd have lost a vote. Still not sure where and how. But the last canvass we did, we were expecting 40-16 margin. There are some persons in my group who are politically very savvy. And they would have led the process. And they were very, very competent and committed in whatever we would have asked them to do. So we weren't surprised at all.
Michael Ricketts, the newly re-elected president of the JFF, he says his only disappointment is that the campaign was not civil.
At the start, I begged that we have a clean and civil campaign, but it wasn't so at all. The truth is that I was trampled on. They tried to hurt my integrity. In fact, they launched a smear campaign against my slate members and myself. But God has helped us to prevail, and we've stayed strong, we've stayed focused, and like I said, the rest is history. The show will go on.
Michael Ricketts joins us now. Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine, but I must begin by congratulating you. It was a hard-fought campaign, and you prevailed. 39 to 17. That's a big, big win.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that. And I love to share the sentiment with all my slate members and all those who would have supported my campaign.
It was more than 2-1 in the end. The campaign seemed to suggest it would have been closer. What was crucial for you?
What was really crucial was that while the other side were in the media and complaining about every single little bit of detail, we were on the ground connecting with voters. So we were meeting with prospective voters, we were meeting with parish presidents, we were meeting with respective groups, we were having meetings, we were doing the canvass, and that probably would have made the difference. We were intent on getting it right. And I want to say this, that this election must go down in history as the most transparent. Reasons being, it's the first time that we would have had an electoral committee. First time. And we initiated that. We also set up a appeals committee that if you would have gone to the electoral committee and were dissatisfied about anything, there was a course that you could make your complaint. So the complaints committee was there. And on election day, we engaged the services of the electoral committee of Jamaica. So we try to have made it as clear and clean and as transparent as it could have been. And in fact, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, Mike. Wayne Walker here. By the way, I congratulated you yesterday on WhatsApp. Let me just take this opportunity to publicly congratulate you on the victory. It was a landslide, actually.
Thanks a lot, Wayne. Thanks a lot.
Yes. But it was interesting that you're just telling Cliff about the transparency of this election, and describing it as the most transparent of all elections that has ever been held by the JFF. But it's interesting because up to 24 hours before the election, the other side, the real solid action side, was complaining of the lack of transparency. In fact, one of the things that they pointed to was the fact that they didn't get the voters list. They didn't have the names of the delegates on it.
This is how the electoral committee chose to have done it. They made a listing of all the entities that were eligible to vote. And I hear rumors that I got a voters list. And that's not true. The same list that I got with all the entities, referees group, parishes, coaches, all the groups that would have qualified, that would have become compliant and would have made themselves eligible, were listed and with the number of votes. So there was nothing.
Was the Anderson team told that this was how it was going to be done?
The list that was sent to me was sent to Anderson.
Yes.
So they just cried and complained too much.
Yeah, but did they know that this is how it was going to be done? Because in prior elections, the names of the delegates were given to both campaigns.
I'm not even sure about that. I am not even sure about that. Because in those days, up to the morning of election, you could make changes.
Yeah, but the names were on. I've seen delegates list before. Box Hill Burrell at Royalton, incidentally, but this was Royalton on Trelawney. I was there when that happened, and I saw the names of the people.
Yeah, but what if the electoral committee decided to do it differently?
Fine, and I'm saying it's okay. But was the other side told? Because they were complaining about it 24 hours before the election, suggesting they didn't know.
Everything that I knew, they knew every single thing. And I didn't complain, I didn't scream, I didn't run away.
Yes.
But while they were complaining, I was doing my job of getting in contact with delegates and getting in contact with organizations that would vote.
Yeah. What are you going to be doing with this very strong mandate? As Cliff said, it's more than 2-1. What are you going to be doing with this? It's a resounding confirmation that the people in football are, at the very least, happy with what you're doing, given what they've done in terms of the polls. What are you going to be doing with this very strong mandate?
Obviously, we are on track to get more positives. And, of course, when you look at some of our achievements, then we just need to continue the work and to improve on some of the things that we have started. We have now virtually reconciled with the Reggae Girls. We have a game coming up on, I think,
April 5. Yes.
Yeah, against Australia. A number of them have made themselves available. That is one big step in the right direction, because that will have hurt the administration. As unfair as the narrative, and it was all negative narrative, as unfair as they were, we must take responsibility for all that would have happened. So we are on a path to having that corrected. As it relates to governance, we must strengthen that. We are having a good relationship with FIFA, and we just need to continue growing our governance, because that probably would have been a real issue during our time of being in office, during our tenure.
Mr. Ricketts.
So these are things that we really need to correct.
Just before,
and going forward, we just need to improve on our youth development programs.
Tell me, Mr. Ricketts, I noticed your words. We are almost reconciled with the Reggae Girls. That means it's not done yet. What progress have you made? Yeah, what's outstanding?
We would have gotten documentation from their representatives that they have conceded that they have been paid in full. And that would have set the tone for them making themselves available. And as it is now, I know for sure that some of them, at least more than half of them, from that workup squad, have given an indication that they are available for the game April 5 against Australia.
Does that include Bunny Shaw?
No, not yet. But most of the others. I think 13 of that squad have already given an indication that they are available.
Which is why you say you almost reconcile because you want all of them on board now.
Right.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So Mike, you did mention that you've reconciled with the girls, all the monies have been paid up, and so on and so forth. But you also would agree, if you're fair, that you or your administration has been one of the most, if not the most, unpopular in recent memory. You have to reconcile with the general public as well, because they are the ones you're asking to pay through, come through the turnstile, and they're not happy with you. In fact, if this was a general election where the public vote for the JFF president, Raymond would have wiped the floor with you. I'm sure you know that. So you have to reconcile because it also speaks to corporate sponsorship as well.
I'm not accepting that. That is your perception. I'm not accepting that. But as it may, if you think that way, and I don't know why, would you say that?
Because, as I say, public sentiment. If you listen to public sentiment, Mike, you did say it at the outset that while Raymond went public, you were talking to the people who would matter on the day, who are the delegates, and that's correct. But I'm saying to you, the general public sentiment is that you and your administration isn't popular, and I doubt you'll find a lot of people who would disagree with me, Mike.
And I can't understand why. No.
Well, that's a different argument.
Tell me why.
Go again?
You care to tell me why?
Yeah, as you rightly say, there are a number of issues since you took office with your administration. Just a second. Just a second,
Tell
Mike.
me what a number of issues are.
Just a second. There are a lot
You've
of...
qualified for the World Cup twice.
Yes.
Is that an issue?
No, it's not an issue, but you asked me to tell you the ones, and I'm going to tell you. There have been a lot of follow-ups. You've had to force out your general secretary. You've had to fire coaches on the order of the national team because they don't like. No. They are. It speaks to an administration not in control. That's what it does. I know it's not out of wrong, Mike.
That made us unpopular?
All right, Mike. Do you think that the administration?
That made us unpopular?
If I what?
You think that made us unpopular?
Of course
when
it does.
didn't renew the coach's contract?
No, Mike, general sentiment is against the Federation, rightly or wrongly. It is. And I am saying to you, and please, I really don't want to go toe-to-toe.
I have a complimentary and a congratulatory comment on my phone right now from the coach.
Go again?
I have a complimentary and a congratulatory
I hear you,
right
but it doesn't change the point I'm making that general public sentiment is not with the JFF, this current administration. And that's factual. Corporate sponsorship is not forthcoming in the sort of drove that it would normally. Go again?
That's your perception, and I'm not agreeing.
And it's a general perception, Mike. It is. It is. You know I'm straight with you. It's a general perception. And all I am saying to you, now that you've got this strong mandate from the delegates, just transfer that to the general public because you're going to need them to pay in the turnstile and they'd want to know that things are going well as well. That's all I'm saying, you know.
I'm not agreeing.
And it's fine. I'm just putting it forward.
Fine.
So,
okay.
So let me ask you, Mr. President, in terms of the mandate you have received, what are the priorities now, the immediate short-term priorities?
Okay, sir. Our priorities right now must be next Thursday, in fact, this Thursday, we have a game against the U.S. First in the history of Jamaican football. Have we gone this far in the Nations League? We're into the semifinals. And we play the U.S. on Thursday. That's our immediate attention.
Where is that match going to be?
In Dallas.
If
Texas.
we get past the U.S., we play either Panama or Mexico in the finals. Our World Cup qualification starts on June 6th. We play the Dom Rep in Jamaica. And 3 days after, we go over to Dominica to engage them. These are our immediate priorities. The Copa, we play our first Copa game on February 22, or rather June 22, against Mexico. These are the things that will be on our priority list as we speak. The big picture, though, Cliff, is getting to the World Cup in 2026. And when we engaged Hall Grimson, that was what we had in mind, to give our team the best chance of qualifying for 2026.
And Mike, I tell you this. Whilst I was just saying to you that I think public sentiment have you as one of, if not the most unpopular president and administration. I'm going to hold to that because that's, if you go out there and to a man you ask, you'll get the same sentiments I'm expressing here. But you see what you've just pointed out? You now have, based on what we have ahead of us, the Copa, the Nations League, and the World Cup qualifiers, the quality of players that we have, you now have the opportunity to become, going forward, possibly the most successful president, given the quality that you have on your hands right now in terms of player and player personnel.
I don't think so. Because if after qualifying for 2 Women's World Cups, if after qualifying, playing to qualify, and let me tell you, we have, for example, our Captain Bird Center of Excellence, where, a Caribbean country, a prominent Caribbean country, called me to say congratulations and to say to me that the entire Caribbean looks up to, or the entire Caribbean try to copy what Jamaica has done. We have had Guyana staying at the center. We have had Trinidad staying at the center. We have had Barbados staying at the center. And every single one of them, we have had training for the entire Caribbean region of referees staying at the center. I don't think there's any such facility in the Caribbean with playing surfaces, hostel, proper cooking facilities, conference center. We have had a number of teams staying there. This is just something that we would have put the final touches to. When you look at football, it's the only entity that has a professional sporting league. When you look at our office space, we are the only sporting entity that has our own office space. We would have qualified twice for the World Cup. Our under 15s did the best ever by finishing 4th in the CONCACAF competition. We have the best coaching education program in the Caribbean. I don't know what else. We have referees spread. Or
Mr. Ricketts
was in charge of the VAR at the World Cup final. I really don't know. We have played to qualify for Copa. The other times we were invited.
Mr. President.
I really don't know what else to do.
Mr. President.
I really don't know.
Help me here, Mr. President.
We're going to, amid all the criticism, we're going to stay strong. We have some real loyal and committed people.
Tell me,
and
Mr.
we're
President.
going to work hard. I mean, if it means you're rated because you qualify for a senior men's World Cup or you don't qualify, then we have tried to put everything in place
Mr. President.
to ensure that we qualify for 2026.
Mr. President. Mr.
As
President,
it is now, we have the best contract ever as a sporting entity with Adidas.
All right.
Adidas is arguably...
We're running out of time, and I need to get this in, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
How long Mr. Anderson has been on the executive of the JFF?
I would reckon more than 2 decades.
36 years, to be exact.
36 years?
Yes.
Oh, that's 3.5 decades.
Yes.
Wow. So he has been a fixture in the leadership of the JFF, hasn't he?
When I got on the board, he was a vice president.
Oh, good. So tell me, now after this bitterly fought contest, is there still a place for him around the table with you?
It's unfortunate that Raymond really got into a contest with me. It is so very unfortunate.
In a democracy?
We you see what democracy has done. Almost put himself into oblivion. But I am saying that when I heard that Raymond wanted to run, I personally called him. And the response was, we can talk. I called Pearson, who was his strongman from St. Mary. I said to Pearson, I'm putting my slate together and I want Raymond on it. He said, yeah, man, we can talk. I asked Samuels to call him. He said Samuels and give him ultimatum. So we just say, all right, let's go to the polls. And all the shenanigans, they took us to court 3 times and they lost all 3 times. All the shenanigans, I was saying to them, let's go to the polls and settle everything. I am not into carrying any grudges or any ill feelings. I want people who can positively contribute to growing the sport of football. I want people like that.
And is Raymond one of them?
The board will decide when we meet next Wednesday.
Would you want him as a president?
To do what?
To play a role.
What role?
Whatever
Because
role. Do
if-
you think he's capable of playing a role in it going forward? Do you?
And I'm saying, I mean, we have to look around. I know that Raymond is strong and running the gates and what have you. But would the board of directors be comfortable?
How much sway do you have about the board?
Hold on, Wayne. Let me ask you though, Mr. President. Yeah, you are in charge. You're the leader now.
Yeah.
You're unassailable. Yes, and you said earlier that he contested, and that was unfortunate. And you see what it has brought him. He's now into oblivion, is the word he used. You sure that's the word you want to use? Because oblivion means that he's finished.
It can be temporary, it can be permanent.
Huh?
Oblivion can be temporary. Doesn't mean forever. But as it is right now, it may be appropriate right now.
Yes.
But it may not be next week or the week after.
And that is a clear answer that not in the immediate term here does he have a place around the table.
It's going to be tough to market Raymond right now today, because the truth is that, I mean, they have done so much to hurt us. They have done so much. They've been very, very unkind to us. And we've been sitting in a boardroom together as a family. Raymond used to sit to my immediate left at every board meeting.
Confidence has been lost.
It has been.
He has hurt you. He has hurt you, Mike. You sound as if Raymond has hurt you by his action of running against you, and then according to you,
running against me. No.
What was it then?
Running against me. How they campaigned.
Oh,
That's what's hurtful.
okay.
Because I have no issue if he wanted to run against me, but it's how it was done and why did they have to do it that way. I literally went on my knees and I begged, let us have a clean campaign. I repeatedly used that situation with Ambassador Stevenson, that he and I went into a contest, but at no time did he try to hurt anybody's feelings. At no time at all. But this time, not so at all.
This is sounding very bitter. And that's the end of Raymond Anderson in terms of any foreseeable leadership in the JFF under your watch. Isn't that correct, sir?
Cliff, I would not go that far because I am a forgiving kind of person. But as it is now, deep in my heart,
You're not in a forgiving mood.
deep in my heart, it's still painful.
Yeah, you need
And
time.
it's not that he ran against me, but it's the things they did while campaigning.
Like what did they do?
They virtually tarnished the names of so many of us on my screen. They lied. They fabricated stories. They orchestrated a massive smear campaign. They went to court when there was no issue, and the court results would have been borne out here. That 3 times they went to court and they lost all 3 times. They showed no regard for the Constitution. The articles, they disrespected the articles. I really want them to give football some breathing space, honestly, because we've been so unfairly treated.
The
And
president.
it was led because of my own vice president who chose to run against me and chose to bring some persons with him who have no interest in football, people who have never been into football. But, like I've said, apparently football is doing so very well that is attracting people from other sporting entities.
Michael Ricketts has just won re-election as president of the Jamaica Football Federation, and his vice president leadership, a member of the leadership team for 3.5 decades, 36 years, Raymond Anderson, the man who challenged him for the leadership, has no place around the table in the immediate future. Yes, because as the president said, he has lost confidence in him, and it has been too much of a bitter campaign that was waged by Mr. Anderson. Thank you very much, Mr. Ricketts.
Thanks,
for
Mike.
having me. Yes, Wayne. Cool.
Take
Thanks.
care.
You're welcome. Wayne Walker, a lot there. He's
Cliff.
hurting. He's vexed.
To say he's hurting is an understatement. I can't see a way back for Raymond. Let me say what Mike can't say. I really don't see it.
No, and he made it clear.
It's not going to happen.
Too much water under the bridge.
It's bordering on hate.
Wow.
I just don't see it happening.
Yes.
In fact, I don't think the president
He
thinks
said they
need
lied, they smeared.
disrespected the Constitution. After saying all that he has said, how do you even given time? How do you bring back something?
Can't
like
bring him back. Yeah.
Fences are unmendable.
this one, it sounds like right. That's the proper term. Yeah, it sounds like that way to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.